Hello and welcome back to Chaos Gate. I'm Jade Star, joined as always by my favorite friend who was recently made an honorary member of the Moogle's Guard for Good King Moggle Mog the 12th, blessed be his name, Olish.
I have no response to that.
I mean, I figured, I think you're maybe a little bit too ripped, too buff to really fit in with them, but you're round and you're mostly white. We're just going over here to the other blue mission from the last time. We're gonna clean this one up. These early ones aren't giving us full rewards, but we are strategically keeping the bloom at bay, but not letting the planets get to like 5 on the little bloomometer. We can take the same team as before. We don't really have a lot of reason to shuffle or customize. We don't have a lot of gear. Most of them barely have skills. That's going to start changing as we get like armory access and wounds. People are going to have to be rotated in and out constantly.
For now, you don't have a whole lot of depth in your bullpen.
Indeed. Weirdly baseball specific there, though.
It was the thing that came to mind. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of idioms in English.
There are. At the time we tried to discover the origin of wheelhouse as a thing.
The psychic disturbances here echo those I encountered on Koromar.
The hive cities are abandoned, but there is life below. Brothers, seek out any corruption and purge it.
I have to say, I appreciate them giving you kind of these safe landing zones, even if it kind of wastes a turn on the bloomometer. It's actually really rare or almost impossible to sprint forward and engage combat even on a full move forward. That's why I go 2 out of 3 AP. You'll see I constantly stop the cursor where it shows that I'll still have 1 AP where I end my turn, just in case I get a blip or something.
Well, you did get a blip. You're just not close enough to see it or be seen.
Right. There's a wall. But I mean, that's why I go 2 out of 3 movement and just get everybody there and then press forward just in case I get an activation. This comes to mind since we've been playing Helldivers and we keep deploying into Fuck City.
It's surprisingly difficult to not deploy into Fuck City. The only safe option is for there to be a shoreline and for you to deploy on the shore. Because there are never points of interest on the shore.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Good point.
But there can be POIs very close to it.
I love the idea of that little cultist just fucking kicking down this massive 30-foot door.
Come at me
And
now!
it's the 41st millennium. There's only hinges.
Are there even hinges?
Advanced door technology.
I don't think I've seen a single door in this game get opened via hinge. So I'm looking around, and I'm trying to figure out where the Grenadier is in this pack. Because those guys are just the absolute worst when they have friends around them. They actually can't directly attack you, but they have 2 kinds of grenades. The time bomb, which takes a turn and then explodes. It basically flushes you out of any position you're in. And the choking gas, I think, whatever. It's the one that costs you an AP. Gives you a detriment that costs you an AP. So when you have 6 or 7 cultists, it's really annoying having a Grenadier out there costing you, 2 out of your 12 AP if it hits, 2 knights. They didn't bring one this pack, pod, whatever. So I'm safe. I'm just gonna set people on fire.
Wounded.
So there's 2 important things that I remember from playing this, and it's only like 6 hours ago that I recorded it. So hey, good job me with my incredibly strong memory here. One of the reasons why I use the Psy Cannon and not the Silencer, even though the Silencer has substantially more range, is that the Psy Cannon has an unlisted benefit. On lower difficulty settings, it also one-shots cultists, because they tend to have 5 instead of 6 HP.
Right.
The unlisted benefit of this high cannon, if
Pretty
I
sure
move
it
forward-
destroys cover.
Yeah, that's what I was going to try to say and time it, but forgot how long I hesitated here. Is that it will usually destroy crap low cover. It won't destroy all low cover, but things that look less than super sturdy, it will just destroy as you shoot at something that is using it for cover. I didn't expect this to be the case, but it destroyed that giant chunk of rock that 2 of these guys were using as cover. And if you can remember and plan around that, you can have a psi cannon shoot first to strip targets of their cover and then follow up.
I don't remember if you've covered this in the earlier videos, but cover being a flat damage reduction is an interesting way of handling it, given that, you know, this is not a game that has missed chances.
Right. With no variables or RNG, yeah, everything is deterministic, and so cover becomes just flat damage mitigation. Flat, or full cover from a flat 90-degree angle is you can't even shoot that target. You can kind of see, like, the guy behind the statue at the top of the screen, it lists as 0 if I, like, move into place, and it's just trying to say that, like, if you moved here, you can theoretically line of sight him, but he's in such full cover that you get a
You
0
just can't
and a
hit him,
miss.
yeah.
It's actually a little bit worse than a straight you can't hit him. You also can't apply, like, any status effects that your attack would have normally applied. Just absolutely no effect on him.
Alright, because you're not actually hitting him. But the cover that he was hiding behind was the conveniently, like, directionally knockdownable statue.
Yeah, I love this. One of the things I like about this, I've done it twice here in this fight already, is that oftentimes the environment is interactive, or is utilizable, or is just a part of the fight, and it's great. I like that a lot. I think, last time we tried to ring out a couple cultists via, like, frag grenades over the edges. And that's just real fun. Like, if I had some way of knocking these 2 guys into that abyss, that's an instant kill. Now, I also don't know what I really expected, having set these guys on fire and made a big obstacle for them to shift, like, up and left. But they just flanked me, and kind of a mistake, but also, Chaos Gate is fundamentally not the same as XCOM, and I'm going to keep, you know, drawing comparisons and contrasts. But I mean that in the sense that in XCOM, I could very often get through combat without ever taking damage. That is exceptionally rare in Chaos Gate.
You can do it, but you usually need more tools to make it happen.
I am here to serve.
Maybe a more,
Your command.
like, forgiving setup where you can hit more people with AoEs, or you need to spend more resources that we don't actually have yet.
Right. Yeah.
Gratitude.
Typically, typically each pod, I would say, presents enough of an HP pool that it's not impossible, but you need to be, like, ideally set up to chew through it in one turn. Also, I love the critical hit system. So, I think that was the first time, and we're gonna get another one here in a moment.
It is finished.
Melee critical hits do what's called precision targeting, and it lets you select a point on the target to hit to inflict various effects. These little basic cultists, you can either just take their arm off, they no longer have a gun, or you can just add 1 stun. And yeah, I got time. Stun is a pretty cool effect. It's the little skullometer with a number and thing. If you reduce it to 0, enemies become dazed. If you shoot a dazed target, you land a guaranteed critical hit. If you melee a dazed target, you guarantee a crit, but you also then get the option to execute them, just flat out kill them for 90-95% of the enemies. Things that are bosses or mini-bosses or huge fucking hulking monstrosities don't have the execute ability, but most of the rank and file stuff will. And I really like that. It's a little bit of a shame that post-patching has universally raised everything's stunometer up by at least a point or two. And then going from like normal to ruthless also raised everything up by 1. So it becomes a lot harder to see depleted stun meters, especially early in the game. You now kind of have to explicitly work for it. However, I do like it as a mechanic, even as it is, because Chaos Gate does a lot of these sort of catch-up or rebound mechanics, ways that I feel... I had a term for it, positive reinforcement loop? I don't fucking know. Where there's a mechanic that benefits people that are perhaps lagging behind the expected curve.
I sense their presence.
For example, like these cultists. Just imagine I was having a tough time with them, and I kept being able to shoot one for only chip damage, like 1 or 2 hit, or 1 or 2 damage at a time. After the 4th time, though, he gets dazed, and I can just walk up to him and execute him. That's horribly inefficient, because it's like, 4 attacks to daze him and then 1 more to finish him off. But at least it's something, so that I'm not, like, constantly feeling like I'm behind.
We bring a message of
Well, you haven't actually mentioned what executing does besides kill the target.
Oh, that's
pretty
true,
relevant.
yes. Oh, yeah. It refreshes an AP to everybody.
they will not.
No, not anymore. DLC units don't get the execute AP.
Only Grey Knight units get
yeah.
the AP.
Yeah. So it's a great catch-up mechanic if you are struggling. Now,
Yes, sir.
typically, things are going to die a lot faster than you're going to stun them out, unless you have a stun grenade or a stun ability, which do exist and are great. But it's no longer to the level of my first or second playthrough, where chain executions were a tactic or something that I specifically kitted towards and executed on the battlefield. Later on, we might be able to get a chaplain who has an ability where he grants extra AP to the knight that makes the execution. So the knight that makes the execution gets 2, and everybody else gets 1, and you can start to see how that can kind of pile up and snowball AP if you can run around doing that.
If triggering the execute costs fewer than 4 AP, you're basically spending AP for free to kill an enemy and generate more AP than you spent.
Yeah, and it was very, very strong, and I assume that's why it got it, but it felt great. Also,
This
I
encounter
love
was the favorable type.
Yeah.
You're able to hit all of them with AoEs.
Enemies have been cleansed.
Yeah.
Good work.
Pillars count as
Commander.
AoEs, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you did a line attack. And yeah, mission over. Didn't even get to deal with the reinforcements that we saw on the pre-battle screen.
There were reinforcements?
Yeah, there were two groups of reinforcements.
I think that just meant that I should have expected 2 pods.
It's been a minute since I actually looked at that.
Yeah. Reinforcements will definitely be a thing later. I think we're a little too early for that. Eventually they'll start teleporting in. But yeah, Iolanthus got flanked and got shot by some autoguns. It has a 24-day recovery period now.
It's
fine. It's fine. I've got another Justicar in the barracks, but you can also field injured units. You can see up in the top right, he's 17 of 17's -4 in red. If we field him, we can deploy him just like normal, but his maximum HP is reduced by 4.
Yeah, the game, unlike XCOM, the game expects you to take hits, like, unavoidably, and gives you the ability to survive taking hits. Multiple hits. Aegis Shield is one of those things that just every one of your Grey Knights has, that lets you take unavoidable hits a little bit better. The risk comes in that maybe you've got a guy who's really skilled and you really need him for a mission, but he's wounded. Well, you can still bring him, he'll have less HP.
If something goes wrong.
If something goes wrong, he can drop.
Yeah. I'm going to have to do summations of skills eventually at this point, but this is our Apothecary. We're going to just make him heal better. That's what Apothecaries are there for. He comes preloaded with a skill point towards the Bleed tree, which at launch was absolutely garbage. Bleed has been reworked since, and I'll talk about that in depth later in a specific video, supposedly.
Allegedly.
But this was allegedly, yeah. But this was just a nice, real quick mission. Next time, we're probably going to be sitting on the star map, doing plot, repairs, etc. So thank you all for watching, and I'm sorry, Alex, you gotta get back in the freezer.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.